My first question is, thinking back to the 80s, and y'all might not know it because I look so young, I was a grown man during the 80s, but thinking back to the 80s, what was your favorite 80s song and why? And I think I'll go with Dr. Taylor on this one, because he knows all about the 80s.
I know, I was trying to think of my favorite song from the 80s. That's funny. Why is that so funny? Oh, yeah, the 80s.
You know, you can do your thing and change it to the 50s.
Oh, the 50s would be some Little Richard song. Lucille.
Lucille. Short
How
legged.
she feels sweet. She got everything that Uncle John needs. Oh, baby. Ooh, baby. Ooh, baby. Having some fun tonight. That's in Predator. That's what the guy was singing in Predator.
Yeah.
He kept singing Little Richard, Long Tall Salad. Anyway, moving right along. My favorite song, I'm gonna go with, it's not my favorite song, but it's the one that comes to my mind, and it's, oh God. What's his name? Dolby, She Blinded Me with Science.
Thomas Dolby.
Thomas Dolby,
yeah,
She Blinded Me with Science. It sticks in my mind. It's one of those songs that I think of the 80s and I think of songs, I like that one. There's some other ones, and there's some rock songs. I believe it or not, I did listen to a lot of rock in the 80s. It was unavoidable. One of my favorite bands was Foreigner and things of that nature. You mentioned one, Boston. You're from up there. Just another band out of Boston, you know. What else is there about the 80s? Well, I was
I was communicating with Quincy. You're good.
Oh, is it something I said?
No.
Richard Pryor from the 80s, you know. Where am I time-wise? Am I green yet? Not yet green? Okay, I can waste some more time. All right, in the 80s, what were things? Okay, I was in the 80s. They had the Los Angeles Olympics, and I lived in Los Angeles. I lived in Inglewood when they had the Olympics, and that was a crazy time. A lot of weird stuff going on then. What else was going on in the 80s? Oh, I don't know, too much stuff. 80s was not one of my favorite decades. It was a time when I had a lot of had a few trials and tribulations that I had to deal with in the 80s, and it was that's one of the decades that I had to overcome. Of course, when I got into the 90s, I thought I'd overcome them, and I had to overcome stuff again without going into details, but well, here I am. I'm alive and well, and yeah, whatever. Mr. TableTopics Master.
So my next question is, thinking back to the 80s, if you can recall back that far, I can't pick you, Logan, because I don't think you know anything about it. So back to the 80s, Vicky, what was your favorite clothing to wear that was stylish, that said you were it in the 80s? Don't say mini dresses.
Ooh. What was the clothing back in the 80s that I thought I was stylish? Ooh, talk about being nostalgic. Let's see. Well, you said not to say mini dresses.
Say whatever you want.
But I did have a mini dress sweater that I really liked. And black leather mini skirt. And the fishnet stockings that go with it. And the heels. Now, Brian, just so that you understand, I graduated in '82.
Like I said, you're just a few years older.
I'm a few years older than you. So that meant I went to boot camp in '83. So, dress blues, ooh, one of my favorite things, but not nostalgic to the 80s. So when I graduated boot camp, went to Iwakuni, Japan, my black leather mini skirt, little cute top, nice heels, you know, young Marine legs, that was my go-to thing, because buddy, you're gonna notice me when I walk down that street. That is an important thing at that point in time in my life. So if I had to say my favorite thing was my black leather miniskirt, heels, and whatever top at that moment.
Miniskirt, black miniskirt, huh?
Black leather.
Black leather miniskirt.
My daughter tried to wear it when she was in high school, and she goes, oh my God, you were thin back then.
Okay, awesome. My next question is, we talked about favorite TV shows from the 80s. I heard Star Trek, which is one of my favorites. I don't know who mentioned it, but it is one of my favorites. My next question is, favorite TV show or movie from the 80s, and why did you like it? And I will go to Toastmaster Mickey Wallace. You were growing up in the 80s, right?
About to find out today as I Google popular shows from the 80s. Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster. Good afternoon, fellow Toastmasters. My name is Mickey Wallace, and I grew up in the 80s, or should I say I was birthed in the 80s. So as far as TV shows go that were popular back then, I can pull a few that just came to mind. Fraggle Rock. Fraggle Rock was any, yep, a few head nods for Fraggle Rock. All right, so I'm born in '83 and spent quite a bit of time in front of the tube as a babysitter. So I remember when the TV used to go off at a certain time and just static came on. I remember ABC and Saturday morning cartoons, things that go bump in the night, Goosebumps. So a few other shows that stuck out to me from my childhood. And then I think the most of them started to come into memory from the 90s. So as far as the 80s go, that's what kind of sticks out. Mr. Toastmaster.
Thank you, sir. All right, that's all we have for table. That's all the time we have for table topics.